I can see you. Okay. Hi, Carol.
Hi.
So today I just wanted to summarize our last meeting. We discussed Chris's behaviors from teasing, sibling, not listening to the first time, and becoming easily distracted.
Right.
So you and I decided to concentrate on the not listening first time behavior with the adult giving directions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Overall, our behavior goal for Chris is to follow directions from adults, including like the caregiver or parents, with no more than 2 prompts for like 2 weeks. We were hoping for.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. So to make things a little bit easier, I decided to make our goal within the playroom setting, for him to follow no more than 1 prompt. So each time he would follow that direction, I would give him a penny.
Okay.
My overall goal is for Chris to follow directions from adults with no more than 2 prompts.
Right.
Right. Okay. So after our last interview, I started the token economy using a fixed ratio schedule of reinforcement. The first 2 sessions were every time he completed a simple task, he would receive the penny. He needed to get 10 pennies after each session. Then I started on the fixed ratio 2. It's like he would, which means 2 responses would be reinforced with a penny. He seemed, he also had to get the 10 pennies to receive that selected reward. After the session, he seemed distracted, a little not really willing to, complete the task fully. I think he complained that he wanted to see each task.
He had to work harder.
Yeah, it was harder. So he wanted to see a penny for each task he did. So I switched schedules to a different one. Chris and I talked about it. What he preferred, option 1, to set up a much more higher goal for pennies for each session, or for have him perform 2 tasks for 1 penny and then 3 tasks for 1 penny. And he decided to the first option, which it's easier for kids to follow that. So I wanted to give you the heads up on Chris's progress. I changed the schedule from the fixed ratio to variable ratio. This is when a reinforcer is given after a specific number of appropriate responses. So we set off as a VR10, which is he has to get 10 completed tasks to get the reward at the very end of the session. So he did great. If he didn't complete the task, I would give him a simpler task to complete, and then we would go back to the difficult one.
Okay.
Recently, his rewards were watching TV for a half hour in computer time. I moved him up to a VR15 for the next 2 sessions because he did so well, and with the steady increase of his behavior, we were up to a VR20, and now this week we're at a VR25.
Okay.
So he has to get 25 pennies to get the reward.
Okay.
So now that we see he's reaching my criteria, have you seen like any effectiveness in the intervention? Like in general, have you seen like improvements in his behavior?
I have. Yes. He does seem to be more responsive. And I haven't been keeping track of it necessarily, but I do think it's having an effect on his behavior.
Okay. Would you say that the token economy procedure that I'm using in the playroom setting has helped him become more compliant to your directions?
Yes, I do think that.
Okay. Would you say that the intervention would work in other settings within the household?
Yes, I mean, I think he now that he understands how it works, and I think we could institute it in other areas.
Right. Have you tried to extend the token economy, like with his other siblings or him?
Not this specific with
right.
the pennies, no.
But
but we have done
tokens?
the token. We have used the token economy with his older brother.
Okay. And with him at all for other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them.
So perhaps we should continue the token system within the playroom, I think, for another week or so, just to see his progress,
Sure.
to progress, continue.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I wanted to go over some procedures that will help make the transition smoother after we terminate, or if there's any problems once the program is withdrawn. Some strategies that I would maintain the behavior are to pair descriptive verbal praises like excellent job cleaning up that room, or
Right.
nice first time listening.
Right.
And also I wanted to pair the verbal praise with social reinforcers like pats on the back or hugs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully I was hoping to, after pairing with the pennies, with the praise and with the social reinforcers, the pennies would be taken away for good, just leaving the praise and the physical
Right.
attention.
Right.
If he does not comply for the first or second time, I may use a response clause. I think you were using that with Liam. I've seen if the roles were breaking, where response clause is like the loss of pennies or
Right.
tokens if they
Right.
are not listening to directions
Right.
or something like that.
Right.
Okay, so does that sound good to you? I mean,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Okay, great. I wanted our next interview and final consultation in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, great.